The Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Edge Boost. Edge Boost enables you to double your bet with no interest. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to get started today. We're also brought to you by Bird Dogs Shorts. The world's greatest shorts are hooking you up with a free Yeti-style tumbler when you order over at birddogs.com/pool. That's birddogs.com/pool. Welcome, everybody, to the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is Wednesday, June the 14th. I got my MLB page open. That's got the date on it, so I nailed it. And we're here to talk a few different things. We've got a Champions League final to have a look back on from last Saturday. The Premier League fixtures were released today, which is always dead exciting for about 90 seconds till you read. I mean, it was probably more exciting if you were a Luton fan or something like that. It was exciting for about 90 seconds till you realise everyone plays everyone twice. And me and Baz have picked some stuff out, some futures markets, some way too early futures markets, some fairly sensible stuff, and then some less than sensible stuff as well. Joining me from Nottinghamshire, Mr. Barry Penaluna, still in 1040 scale, 3:4 definition, infrared, super stereo definition. Barry Penaluna, how are you doing?
All right, Malcolm, how are you? It's been a while. It feels like a long time since we last...
Does feel like a while. I couldn't remember what we talked about last week, so I was trying to make some notes about what we could talk about this week. And it does feel like I'm supposed to for about 6 months, but it was only last Thursday, wasn't it?
Last Thursday night. So yeah, we did talk about Champions League. It seemed even that seemed a long time.
Did we? We previewed the Champions League, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Got a few that was it.
Serials in. Slick Rick's in, so Premier League is over, but the footy boys are still coming in to pop in and listen. So that's good start.
Absolutely.
We've got we're going to talk about the Premier League fixtures that have come out. Start to get a little bit excited about the Premier League season, and make some silly. Well, maybe it's not silly. Just make a few of our early predictions. I mean, we'll take this a bit more serious as we get closer, won't we? And pull out our £1 million show and all of that sort of thing. But we thought we'd just get some early thoughts out.
Well, fixtures day is dead exciting. Like, there's no two ways about it. I was ready for it at 9 o'clock this morning. And then we sort of everyone's been saying what we're going to do to fill the summer up. But I made a little note, my pen and paper, a little note as per usual. Is how many weeks we need to fill really until the first Prem Pick Show, week 1 Prem Pick Show, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's not very many. So this is 1 of 8. If we do 1 a week, as we said, we've got the Women's World Cup. We'll probably do the £1 million show. Well, we'll definitely do the £1 million show. We'll do some AFL picks. So by the time you do like a who's going to win the league special, a Champions League special, a relegation special, it's sorted like there's nothing.
Yeah, we've got Newcastle.
You almost don't have enough time.
Newcastle on tour in America as well, aren't they? With Aston Villa, Chelsea, and Brighton. I'm sure our listeners over the pond will get a bit of a review on that. I know some people are going to the games, so yeah, there's plenty there. I mean, the pre-season friendlies for Newcastle start in around about 4 weeks' time.
Yeah.
So we're not far off getting players back and into training and. It seems mad. We've got friendlies starting up in 4 weeks' time, and Man City players have literally just finished their season, whilst the rest of the Premier League have had a couple of weeks of holiday. And then for some of them, literally straight back and straight into international squads. Like, it's just relentless, isn't it? But,
why didn't that fucking England squad? I know quite a few people said it, but they were playing a friendly away in Malta. There's 5 Manchester City players. Could you not have the week off? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. It's pointless. Absolutely pointless. There's nothing to be gained from it. I don't know. If you call them up, then they've got to show willing. Otherwise, they get absolutely slated in the media, don't they, if they don't? But But yeah, given the fact, for example, Callum Wilson's in the squad. He finished 2 weeks ago. He's probably had a week in Barbados or something in the meantime.
Yeah.
Switch off, recharge your batteries. City have had none of that. And to an extent, Man United as well, having only played the FA Cup a week earlier, it just seems a terrible time for international fixtures after what's been a really long season for players anyway, and particularly with the World Cup. I think City have played over 60-odd games now, and then Grealish and Foden and Stones, Phillips, the likes of Phillips hasn't played 60-odd games, let's be honest.
No, he hasn't played 60-odd minutes, but...
those like Stones and Grealish probably do deserve a couple of weeks off at this stage. But yeah,
what did you make of Jack Grealish's drunkenness all week? Have you enjoyed that?
I'm all right with it. Like,
yeah, I'm all for it.
He's got, he makes no bones about it. The lad likes to drink. He likes to celebrate, and why not? Biggest achievement of his life. Crack on for me.
I saw some. Yeah, there was some really funny videos. The one where he spots a nice bird off the top of the bus. That was funny. And then, I mean, that photo of him, the old Jesus-style Titanic, I'm the king of the world on the front of the bus, man. He can have that hanging in his kitchen in 60 years' time. And it's absolutely tremendous. Like, we need to mock one of you, Baz. We'll Photoshop you on that. But yeah, why the hell not? Like, I don't mind it at all. He's turned up today like an absolute, he looks fresh as a daisy for England. But yeah, I think they could have had the week off, and other players could quite easily have gone and ran around in Malta for a bit. It would have made absolutely no difference. Yeah. We've got the Nations League in full swing at the minute. Unfortunately, the only kind of the night that fitted in with the shows landed slap bang in the middle of the two semi-finals, so there's not much preview we can give. I know Croatia won last night, beat the Netherlands 4-2 in extra time, and Spain and Italy are currently 1-1 at half-time in their game. Who's someone on Twitter? I was in the bath a bit ago, Baz, and you sent us a message saying someone's been asking. So we put some picks on Twitter earlier on. I picked Italy. Obviously, you picked the unders. Spain then scored after 3 minutes. But Italy got a penalty back. So there'll be the final between Croatia and someone on Sunday. And the Discord channel in Twitter is probably the best place for all of those. The Discord channell's still been firing up.
I couldn't believe it. I mean, after the Champions League, I took a couple of days away. I was quite happy to just switch off from football.
Yeah.
Yesterday, and there was hundreds and hundreds of messages about the international. The Discord channel's absolutely buzzing at the moment. It was the same day. I logged in after work, and sure enough, there's another 40 messages. People have been betting on Australia and stuff this afternoon, and straight into some mid-afternoon games here, and then into the Nations League, and then we've got USA and Mexico later. So there's tons of chat in there. So yeah, anyone that's looking to fill a bit of time and get some picks and watch some games, Discord is alive. It always is for the internationals. Like there's plenty of opinions in there, so get involved.
Slick Rick's asking how much we're going to put on Newcastle to win the league next season. Do you mean the league or the Champions League, Rick? You're going to have to stipulate because it's a couple of things to choose on there. If what you are going to do, I tell you what, you could do worse. If you're looking for futures, tying your money up for a long time. The thing to do is use Edge Boost, and then none of that applies. You can double your stake without the liability hitting immediately, so you can get on a longer term bet. Edge Boost is the world's first bet now, pay later Visa card, so you can take advantage of up to $2,500 in betting advances. A very valuable tool, particularly if you are looking for a future or, say it quietly, a hedge out on something. Edge Boost can be part of a responsible gambling plan. You can set up daily, weekly, monthly limits across all of your betting accounts in one place, so you can support SGPN and grow your bankroll by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to sign up. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge. So the first point of order tonight, Baz, is to look back on the Champions League final. So I will turn my page back one, and congratulations to City. I thought they deserved it. I had no problem with them winning it, really. And we had to look at the Twitter all week. People say, do you want City to win? Do you not want City to win? And City have never really annoyed me that much. And I think it's because they've got in the way of the teams that do annoy me. Yeah, so Liverpool and Man United, and that's not because it's nothing personal. When any Liverpool or Man U fans start getting all up in you about it, you're meant to dislike other teams. That's how it works. You dislike each other. By all means, dislike our team. It's fine. I'm allowed. because they're the teams that for the majority of my life have got on me tits and got in our way. So now Man City have got in their way without really offending us. Like, we were finishing 16th, whether or not Man City were kicking around or not. So it hasn't affected me at all. So I've got no problem with City, but I thought they were better. They deserved to win. It was quite an entertaining game. Got exciting in the last few minutes. Inter made some chances. Lukaku did some stuff that he probably should have done better. But overall, it wasn't a bad effort. I watched it with all the footy lads and dads. So I arranged a little sweep bars. Correct score and time of the first goal. I put my pick down first, so they knew I wouldn't cheat. Everyone else had a go. All the dads, all the lads, in fact, all the mums, and some even the 4 or 5-year-old little sisters had a go. 1-0, 68th minute was my pick. So I smashed the daylights out of it. And then got accused of cheating by absolutely everyone who thought I'd pulled some sort of David Blaine trick on them. But I just got lucky. So yeah. 68th minute.
Yeah, there's no way you got that bang on.
Baz, I wrote it down. Well, don't you start. This is what I had. This is what I was getting at 1 o'clock in the morning in Kristen's kitchen because no one believed that I'd written down 1-0. Well, it's not beyond the realms of possibility, is it?
It took you over 2.5 in this game for a start.
I did not.
But he did.
Are you mad? I'll tell you what I tipped then. My picks were, we didn't go anything on the outrights, did we? We didn't go anything on the goals because we didn't like it.
Yeah, I did.
I'm going through mine here. I picked a couple of cards I don't think landed. Half-time draw was one of my main plays, 7-5, plus 140. And then my lock was under 10 corners. Yeah. I've got it written down here, Baz. Lock under 10 corners, best of the rest, half-time draw. And we went down the ladder on the corners, didn't we? All the way down to...
Yeah, there was a few people down the corners.
Under 6.5 was 9-1, which landed.
Quite a few people tailed that with the corners.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
it was a reverse ladder, wasn't it? And I know you'd put that one out on the main show as well, on the main sports gambling podcast show, as your main pick. So that was really, really good. And a few of them came late on as well. It could easily have finished 2 or 3 corners. To be honest.
It was 3 later on. I think I'd messaged Patrick the next day or that night saying it was 3. What had happened was the alcohol had been taken, Baz. So I knew I was under, and then you pointed out to me that there'd been a couple late on, and sort of through the haze. I kind of remembered that, but I was quite happy with that anyway. What were your main picks? How did you get on?
So, I mean, obviously we had leans on a few things. I said I fancied Man City to win. I think I got the game script right, really. A lot of what I put out was good. I said Man City would win. I said I didn't think Inter would score. I tipped Man City for a 1-0 or 2-0 was the thinking for me. Mentioned on the show that the last 3 had all been 1-0 and the last 4 had all been under 2.5 goals. So I know a couple of people in the Discord had followed with a 1-0 and cashed that one. I agreed with the unders on the corners, and the under 2.5 goals was one I really liked in the game. Obviously that sneaked in. Really unlucky with the cards pick that I put out because cards was under 4.5. I really liked that. And 90th minute, we're sitting pretty, 2 yellow cards, no problem. And then Haaland runs in the box, pushes the keeper for no reason. Keeper pushes it in back. Absolute handbags. There's nothing in it at all.
Yeah. Haaland was laughing his head off, wasn't he?
Yeah, and the keeper wasn't bothered either. In the Premier League, the referee just turns around and says, lads, stop being silly, move on. And that would have been it. But no, 2 yellow cards dished out. So I'm hanging on. And then sure enough, system play. Edison, time wasting on a goal kick. 94th minute, 5th card. So that's scuppered the cards bet. But overall, I thought I'd done okay. As I say, scripted quite well. I thought Man City would win, but I didn't think they'd walk away with it. I thought it would be a tight game. Inter, as you say, made a fight of it later on. My lock was City in the Asian handicap, so that was a push. And my long shot was City to win each half 1-0. I got part of that right. One of the halves 1-0. So not a million miles away on that. But yeah, it was a good game. Like you say, I think City did deserve it. I thought they looked nervous in the first half. They did look shaky. It took a real while to settle into it. But in the second half, I thought that you always felt they would get the goal. And once they did, I thought they'd be able to hold out. But yeah, they certainly had a few sweaty moments later on, didn't they? Edison having to get in the way of a few. But yeah, I enjoyed it. And like you, not not hugely offended by City. I think that City team deserves a Champions League. Like, they are one of the best teams we've seen for a long time. I watched the game with Kieran, who you know. Who's
oh, yes, of course, yeah.
No problem with that. He is from the Northwest. And Josh, who you might remember from the Super Bowl party, he is a Man United fan from Sleaford. He's not one of the proper Man United fans, one of them plastic ones.
Spider-Man pajamas.
And he cemented that title by halfway through the game declaring that he would quite like to see Man City win the Champions League. This is a Man United fan. At which point I laughed. And earlier in the night, we'd asked him Kieran had asked him, I've never heard from you since the FA Cup final, Man City, Man United. He said he didn't watch the Cup final. And I'm like, this just demonstrates what a plastic Man United for. You're in an FA Cup final against your main rivals. You're telling me you didn't watch it. And now you're sitting watching your main rivals in a Champions League final who are about to match your greatest ever achievement. And you're saying you don't mind that. You're quite happy. That's
yeah.
Football fan. There's not a single situation where Sunderland could be in a cup final and I'd be sitting there thinking, I don't mind if they win this. Like, not a chance. Not a chance. Plastic, can't stand it. And then this lad was giving me grief when they beat us in the Carabao Cup.
Yeah.
Person I won't take grief from. I'll take it from proper fans who you know, I'm fine. But yeah, come on, not having that.
Yeah, it's totally baffling to me. Like, but I just can't get away with it. So turning our thoughts to the Premier League today. So it was Fixtures Day, which is a great day to have a look at various markets. We'll go through the opening day fixtures and some implications thereof in a little minute. I'll just run you quickly through the outrights because we've got some markets where we were looking for some sort of bigger prices today. Manchester City are minus 200 or thereabouts, and it's 8-1 bar. You've got 8-1 Liverpool, 9-1 Arsenal, 10-1 Man United. Then it brings in Newcastle 14s, Chelsea 16s, 40-1 bar those. Any price you like, really. After that, and then the other, the top of the other markets are all quite tight. So I looked at the Premier League top 4 finish. Well, you've got sort of 7, 8, 9 teams involved in there. A lot of them dotted around the even money mark. The same with the top half finish and the bottom half finish. The league's kind of split into 2. There's like 9 teams. You've got those teams I've just mentioned at the top of the market. Chelsea, Newcastle, Man United, Manchester City, Arsenal, Liverpool. And then you add in Tottenham, Villa and Brighton. And they're kind of the 9 who are split at the top half of all of these markets. And the other 11 are all sort of clubbed together at the bottom half. So yeah, the top half finish, bottom half finish is all pretty samey. Similar with the top 6 finish. So there's not loads and loads of value around. There's no real big stupid prices that you could fancy here. I looked first up as we'll go with the relegation market. I'll give you a couple of my thoughts on this. Premier League relegation 23-24, where we have at the top of the market Luton Town. Just if you're not sure, the makeup of the league, that Burnley won the championship, Sheffield United qualified behind them, being promoted automatically, and Luton Town won in the playoffs. They beat Coventry City on penalties. So Luton Town are 4-11, round about minus 300 to go down. You've then got Sheffield United 5-6, minus 120. Bournemouth are third in at 15-8, plus 187. And it goes Burnley at 9-4, Forest 5-2, Fulham 3-1, Everton 7-2, Wolves 9-2, Brentford Palace are 5-1. And bigger prices, the rest, everyone else is double figures or larger. West Ham United at 12-1, being the first of those. 62 promoted sides, Baz, in Premier League history. How many were relegated immediately? Pop quiz, hit me.
Let's think. I'm going to go with 18.
Ooh, miles away. 27, Baz, is the answer. 44% of the relegated teams, of the promoted teams, went down straight away the next year. Last season, all 3 stayed up. So that was a good effort. Forest, Fulham, and Who were the other ones, Baz?
Bournemouth, wasn't it?
Yeah, Bournemouth, Forest, and Fulham. All three stayed up. I think that's the third time in Premier League, this is now the
on that, Malcolm. That's the fourth time in Premier League. So I've got this
fourth, was it?
Yeah, last time.
How many years? We're on 30 years now, Premier League.
Yeah, so there was one back 97, 98, 2010, 11, I think, and then 17, 18 was the most recent one. Newcastle, Brighton, and Huddersfield all came up in 17, 18 and stayed up as well.
Okay.
So yeah, 4 times in history. Whilst we're on there, and sort of interrupting your flow a bit, do you know how many times all 3 sides being promoted were quickly relegated in the following season?
Got to be none, hasn't it?
Once, 25 years ago. So I think I know where you're going in terms of your relegation market. Value's got to be outside of those promoted teams, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. I mean, you can't take Luton at 4 to 11 unless you're a millionaire. You could talk me to Sheffield United at 5 to 6, but you gain your tiny money up for 10 months for a minus 180 shot. That could be an edge boost play if you wanted to get involved with that one. But that's certainly not something we'll be taking, Baz. Like I say, 5 to 6.
I've got a little way of playing it. I'll come on to it when you're finished. If people do fancy those, I've got a little way of juice.
Okay, nice. So I was looking at Burnley then. I mean, Burnley, 4th and 9 to 4. I think Burnley give themselves a chance. They won the championship by a long way, and they play really good football. They've got a good manager. You can see then there's been teams similar to them who come in and play in a little bit of a different way to those kind of mid-table grinders, and they should be able to win enough games to stay up. So of the teams around them, I was looking at the teams that were trending up for me in the second half of last season. I thought Wolves were trending up, particularly with Lopetegui in charge. I think he's a good manager. They are going to. There's going to be some new personnel. Everyone's going to get some new personnel. Some key ones going for Wolves, but I think Wolves were trending up. I thought Forest were trending up. I thought they settled down. I've really no idea what they were doing. The two separate things that happened at Forest were the manager seemed really grounded and sensible. And then on the other hand, they were signing 30,000 players and doing things like signing John Joe Shelby and Chris Wood at Christmas. And I'm not sure how those 2 things feels like it was 2 different clubs. Almost like Steve Cooper didn't want any of that. Brennan Johnson's been linked with a move to Brentford, but I just think Forest did settle down and they started defending okay. And like I say, I thought they were showing a decent trajectory. Bournemouth were trending up. Gary O'Neill did a great job. Fulham had a good season as well, which for me leaves 2 vulnerable teams, Baz. The first one is Everton, and I'm not just saying it because they're on my list as well. Teams, what they're doing, Baz, for how many years now? Everton are circling the drain. Like, they keep circling the drain, Baz. They've got to go down the plug hole at some point. It's inevitable that you cannot keep circling that drain and staying above ground. It's just not sustainable. And nothing's changed. If anything, the situation's got worse. They're going to lose some of their top players. Pickford might be on his way. Calvert-Lewin. They've got no money. They're going to have the same shit with the owners. And it's not entirely impossible, Baz. They're going to get a points deduction as well, come October time when all this hits. I think they're in an absolute world of pain. They were saved last year by that freak 5-1 at Brighton period. I don't know where that came from. Nobody knows. Sean Dyche really didn't bring about any improvement in them. They won that first game against Arsenal. They won last game of the season. They flew to win at Brighton. There was no discernible sort of building, or you could see what they were trying to do. So I'm not buying them at all. 7-2 plus 350 is an excellent price. The second one is a 5-1 shot, and it's Crystal Palace. I think Crystal Palace really, after Hodgson came in and kept them up, go back to square one, where they were at the start of the season, which was a below-average team. And they had Patrick Vieira, so people had a little bit of hope that we're going to do something different. Palace haven't got a new manager yet, have they, Baz?
Hodgson's going to stay on, isn't he?
Is he?
It's not confirmed, but I reckon
Fucking hell.
they seem to think he'll stay on for an extra year.
they're going to lose Zaha, being linked to various places, including PSG, I saw, which was an odd one. Eze and Elise are going to go elsewhere. Let's say they've either got no manager or Hodgson. I think they start the season worse off than they were last year. And they weren't great last year without those key men. I think Palace could be vulnerable, Baz. So 5-1 on Palace, 7-2 on Everton would be my plays at the moment for a relegation bet. What fancy way did you have of dressing this up?
Well,
just interrupting. Sorry, Serial's claiming Lampard back to Everton at some point, which would be fantastic. I'd enjoy that.
For me, like I say, looking at the same stats as you, it's not very often the three coming up go down, and it's quite often that only one of them might go down, or last year none of them at all. So I think you have to look outside of there for the value, because the prices are far too short for the teams that you would expect. I think Luton will make a reasonable fight of it. I think they'll be a tough side to beat, physical side, and I think Burnley, I can understand sort of why they're the favourites of the three. I think that's based on obviously dominating that last year and Vincent Kompany being part of it. So looking outside of it, I went differently. I thought Forest are going to get sucked into it again. I think they could go backwards. I don't think that squad is that strong. If they lose Brennan Johnson, that's a big loss. They've lost Keylor Navas, who was only here on loan. I'm trying to think. They had a couple of other loan players, haven't they, who've left now? The Chris Wood signing was hopeless for them. Shelvey they want rid of already. And Lingard's another one who's gone. He was in for a year. I mean, that was a shambles as well, wasn't it? They were one for me that I just thought, if I'm looking outside of it, then Forest are one that I think will be hanging around there. And at 5-2 plus 250 was one that I thought might be a little bit of value, possibly.
And you said earlier on, did you have some sort of exotic play on this market, Baz, at all?
No, it's not so much the relegation necessarily, but if anyone's got an angle on who they think will finish bottom, then you can get a double on the winner of the league and the bottom of the league. And I think everyone fancies City to win it again.
Yeah.
As you say, we're not going to tip City to win. We're not going to back them to win because it's too much money tied up at a very short price. But I did find the winner bottom double. So I think City will win it again. And if you've got any strong leans on the bottom team, the prices for the double start at 5-2 plus 250 for City to win and Luton to finish bottom. I think Luton will finish better than bottom. You can then go up to 11-2 for City and Sheffield United. And then it jumps up quite a bit, 12-1 for Bournemouth, 14's Burnley, and Forest at 16. So I'm going to put out Forest, bottom of the league, Forest, and Man City winning the league at 16-1.
16.
But yeah, just
what price is Sheffield United, Baz? Did you mention that?
Sheffield United was plus 550
to
finish bottom with City. I don't mind that. I think if Sheffield United and Luton, I would take Sheffield United to finish above Luton. Luton finish above Sheffield United would be my thing. So I don't mind Sheffield United there. But it was just a different way of playing it. If you want to have a go on the futures without doing it on really short priced picks, then maybe something like that could be a little.
That's that's a little bit like Baz. You know, when we've had some American bettors on here, and they'll take the money line with the under 4.5 or something, just to give you that extra sort of 50% on your return. So it's a lovely way of doing it. I'm all for it. Siri was asking about Brighton. Brighton are 40-1 be relegated. I mean, it's not the worst of shouts because he's pointing out that they're going to lose a lot of players. We've just seen teams like Leicester City go down all day. They wouldn't have been anywhere near 40-1. The only thing with Brighton is, and Slick Rick's riposted very well, in the Brighton are really well run. They'll have enough players already. They have this excellent scouting system. This is their model. They'll buy these players from somewhere obscure, sell them on to Chelsea or whatever for 60 million quid. They've done it time and time again. And next year, they'll have 3 or 4 of these players ready to come in. We saw at the end of the... And Cecil came in, didn't he, for the last 3 or 4 months of the season, just looked all of a sudden great. So McAllister's gone. Casado might go. There'll be others coming along the production line. So I worry about them playing in Europe. That's a huge effort. And I'll be fading them maybe for another top 6 finish, something like that. I think they could end up back in 8th, 9th, 10th. but I don't think they're going to be anywhere near the bottom three serial.
Yeah, I made notes to that effect. I think there'll be a bit of regression for Brighton. But as you say, I mean, at the start of the season, nobody was talking about Matoma and Ciso. Ferguson was another that just came on the scene at middle of last season and started to really look the part. So they will have the next one in. You can guarantee that they've been able to do this for years now, haven't they? Where they seem to have the replacements ready to go, and I think they'll do okay. But I think they will drop back a little. I wouldn't see them in a relegation battle personally.
And he was asking if you can parlay the golden boot with City
in the chat, hasn't he? Slick Rick said exactly the same thing. He says that they retool very well, which is exactly what we're saying.
Yeah. I've no idea if you can parlay the golden boot with Manchester City winning the league. Probably not. If you were looking for Haaland, I think that you'd kind of see they were related contingencies, so I would guess not. But you might be
over here we'll get a bet on that. We'll be able to get a bet on it, but you're going to get. It's not if Man City are minus 200. What are you realistically going to get for them to win the league and Haaland golden boot? I think you'd still probably struggle to get much over even money, wouldn't you?
Yeah, fair enough. Right then, let's give Bird Dog shorts a go, Baz. Do you want some stretch khaki shorts, Baz? That'll make you look good through the thigh and give you a truly sculpted look. That's right up your alley, that, Baz, isn't it? Baz and truly sculpted go hand in hand. Bird Dogs do the exact same thing as Lululemon. Yeah, how about that? But they fit way better. Bird Dogs uses anti-stink sweat-wicking fabric that keeps you cool and dry all day long. We're all for that. It's been hot as snakes here, Baz, the last few weeks, last few days, sorry. Bit of anti-sweat wick fabric thing. It'd be fantastic. The place to get all of this is birddogs.com/pool. Enter the promo code POOL and you get a free Yeti-style tumbler with your order. Dylan on the MLB show has got one of those and he raves about it, so get involved. You don't want to take your Bird Dogs off, we promise you that. Right, okay. I've got bottom half finish, Baz, and then I've got a few match bets, teams to finish higher than other teams. Have you got anything you want to tell us about first?
I've got a bottom half finish. I've got a couple of other things.
Go on, then you go. You go first.
Let's go. I'll leave the bottom half. We'll put that in when you've done yours. I've went for the top 4 in any order. So which teams are going to finish in the Champions League places this year? And Slick might be surprised at this. I've got Newcastle finishing out of the top 4 next season.
Oh,
what do you think?
I think I've got us finishing in the top 1, Baz.
Top 1. Yeah. I think we're short priced for where we are. I think we arrived in the top 4 probably 2 or 3 years earlier than anybody expected. I think realistically, had we have finished 8th this season and 6th next season, everybody would have been happy and really seen it as good progress. The danger is now we've set such a high standard this year. People are going to be a bit disappointed if we don't get top 4 again. And I think it's going to be more challenging. So I've left Newcastle out of the top 4. I've also left, get this, Malcolm, Arsenal.
No, that is controversial.
It is. It was just looking for a bit of a daft one, really. I think Arsenal could drop back a bit. I don't see Arsenal pushing Man City for the title again. At this stage, I mean, what we don't know at this point is the signings, don't we? It's still very, very early to be making these sort of calls. And as I say, things might change. Declan Rice coming into Arsenal obviously makes a big difference, doesn't it? If that goes ahead. So I've gone for top 4 in any order. Man City, Liverpool, Man United. And who are you going to put in 4th? You'll hate this.
Man City, Liverpool, Man United.
Chelsea. I think Chelsea under Pochettino will improve bags. They've got to get a striker in. We'll see. They're being linked with lots of players. It'll be, again, it's what I'll probably revisit once we've got closer to the season and we know who's come in and what moves everyone's made. Liverpool, I would expect to be back in amongst it next year. If they're shifting on the likes of Keita, Milner, Henderson, they've got McAllister so far. They'll make a few other signings. And another year in the bag for the likes of Gakpo and Diaz. I think they'll be stronger. 16-1, Man City, Liverpool, Man United, Chelsea, in any order. That was just a bit of a rogue one. It was really a play as a fade of Arsenal. I wanted to see how it would fit into that pick, because I think Arsenal will regress a little bit, and I'm not sure if they'll be top 4 next season.
I'm now frantically looking for the price on mine, so I'm never going to find it. I'll just go back to what I was going to do anyway. Slick Rick mentioning Villa is his pick. 8-1 Aston Villa. You got that club in the middle, Man City, Manchester City minus 20,000. Arsenal 4-6, Liverpool 8-11, Man United 5-6, Newcastle even money, Chelsea 5-4. So you could throw a blanket really over those. Then it gets a little bit bigger. Tottenham at 3s, Brighton 4s, Aston Villa coming at 8-1. I'm not sure about Brighton. I think Tottenham are going to have a poor season. Chelsea have absolutely got potential. The one I would leave out, Baz, is Man United. That's not going to surprise you at all. I think Manchester City, Arsenal. The thing about Arsenal was, at the back end of the season, I was very impressed with them up here. In person, they passed the eye test. I thought they were great. But then everything around that game, they were shit. So it really was hard for me, because I sat there and watched them be great. And I thought, they're going to hang around for a long time. And then they never beat anyone else for 3 weeks either side of that episode. So that was a bit of a weird one. Top 4 finish. I've got to say, I would have Manchester City, Arsenal. I think Liverpool will get back in there, just with the amount of firepower they've got. They need a defender or two, possibly. They've signed McAllister, hopefully, to address their midfield. But Newcastle, I just think Newcastle are going to keep improving. There's going to be some decent signings coming in. The Barella link yesterday was an incredible link. I'm not sure if it'll come off, but if that's what's going to happen, completely out of the blue, they're going to swoop for players of that quality. Then I can see us finishing in 3rd or 4th place.
So you're going Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, Newcastle in any order.
Yeah,
you get a price of 10-1.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's not that fancy. I didn't throw in one of the bigger ones like you see a Chelsea or Aston Villa, as Rick says. So my next market, Baz, is going to be a bottom half finish. Now, as I said earlier on, the teams are kind of split into 2. You've got the nine we were just talking about. So bottom half finish, obviously from Luton Town down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 are all odds on or minus money. So for a bottom half, that goes all the way down to West Ham at 8-11. It then flips to those top 9, which is Aston Villa at 11-8 plus 137, Brighton 5-2, etc. and bigger, all the way up to Manchester City at 50-1. So now I know you've just said you fancy them for the top 4, Baz, so I'm going to completely and utterly flip this round. And Chelsea interested me. It's 7-1. They can't be as bad as they were last season. I get it. But there's just so much improvement needs to come around. They couldn't defend. They haven't got a keeper. They can't defend. The midfield is a mess. They're going to lose Mason Mount. I like him a lot, even though he wasn't playing. There's a load of other players. They're going to have to shed about 15 professionals. And I just think it's a big old job. Maybe 2 years' time, fine, but I can't see where they would roll out and you'd fancy Chelsea to go and get a win. Having watched them be so terrible last year. And if they don't start well, then it just gets into a little mess again because the owners aren't helping at all. The other one was Tottenham, 7-2 plus 350. If they lose Kane, there's a possibility. It looks like he just might end up staying now. But even then, I mean, that didn't save them much this season. I'm not convinced by Postecoglou. I always struggle when you get a manager comes in from Celtic or Rangers, just because shrug your shoulders. Do you know what I mean? It's proved absolutely nothing. This smells a little bit like the Nuno, who they brought in from Wolves a couple of years ago. Had a couple of good years with Wolves. They brought him in, and he just didn't do it. And there's more competition around them than there's ever been. They're not going back last year, there would have been 9 or 10 to 1 to finish in the bottom half now. But Brighton and Aston Villa and Newcastle are all there. Chelsea are going to be back around it. You've got Brentford sniffing about. West Ham, I think they'll be better. So there's a lot more competition. It used to be a pretty... This 9-11 split used to be a 6-14 or maybe a 7-13. If, like I say, the odd season where Leicester were kicking about or something like that. Not anymore, like. So I think Tottenham look vulnerable. And the third one I'll put up here is Manchester United at 9-1. Cosbas, that shite. Is me City. Do you see what's happened there? That's the analysis on that one. There's going to be an absolute circus around Greenwood. There's going to be a circus around the takeover, whether it happens or not. I wasn't sure if something has happened in the last couple of hours. Because one of the worst things on the show Twitter account is that we end up with all of these Qatari and whatever. Just I don't know if they're YouTubers, influencers, but it's all rubbish, and it's every club, by the way. It's not just Man United. So you keep saying these things that make you believe something's happening when actually nothing's happening. So I just think again, more questions than answers. I don't know what Man United have to offer. I'm not convinced by Ten Hag. They had that little spell that made me teeth itch between like the start of January and after they beat us in the cup final, where they won a load of games with Rashford scoring lucky goals. Before that and after that, they were absolutely dog shit. So yeah, it wouldn't take much for them to finish in the bottom half, Baz, at 9-1.
Yeah, so I only took one pick out of this, and I took Spurs. Spurs to finish bottom half at plus 350. Similar to you, I think surely they can't hold on to Kane. I mean, if he's 100 million now, what are they getting out of him? If they hold him for another season and he goes for nothing, I mean, nobody can see a situation where Spurs are competing for trophies next season because they were so far off it last year. And I just think it's not worth holding him for a season for 100 million. I feel like they've got to try and offload him. I'd be amazed if Daniel Levy plays that game, unless he thinks he can get Kane to sign another contract.
He loves that game, though, doesn't he?
I mean, he does, but it sounds like Man United aren't going to play it, doesn't it? The reports in the last couple of days are that Man United are ready to walk away because they're just not going to hang around all summer, haggling with Daniel Levy and to potentially end up with nothing, which is, it's what happened when Kane was almost at City last year, we thought. And it's what happened with Man United last year with De Jong from, was it De Jong? Wasn't it? It tried to get De Jong from Barcelona.
Yeah. And
it dragged on and on and on and on, all the way to the end, and they didn't get him. So they're not prepared to mess about, and they'll probably move elsewhere. It looks less likely Real Madrid's going to be an option, though, doesn't it? If Mbappe does end up moving to Madrid. So I don't know. I'm not convinced Kane can be there. I think Tottenham are absolutely mad if they don't cash in, because I can't see him signing the contract and then he goes for nothing next year. And like you, Postecoglou, I don't know enough about him. I'm not. You look at his record. Scotland, meh. Just well.
I mean, he did really well in Australia. Fine, he did really well in Scotland, which we could both do, by the way. But he might be great. But it's just it's a big old risk, and it's not the type of manager that Tottenham fans would have been.
Look at the managers they've had in who haven't been able to get a tune out of them.
Yeah,
Jose Mourinho, Conte, who's the other one you just mentioned? Espirito Santo,
Nuno,
and Pochettino. Obviously got forced out in the end. So yeah, I'm not convinced by Spurs. I think if Kane goes, then it's a massive rebuild for Spurs. And even if he stays, the second half of the season, Spurs just looked bang average, didn't they?
Oh, worse than that. Absolutely worse than that, yeah. Very poor. They're kind of similar boat as Everton. I just can't see where the improvement is going to come from. And now, with them not being in the Champions League, it's just kind of inevitable regression. I'll tell you what, Baz, time's pushing on here. I thought this was going to be like a little 40-minute turbo show, but we've got loads left to talk about. I've got two more markets, Baz, and we haven't even mentioned the opening day fixtures. So let's boss through these. I have got, Baz, to finish higher than, I've got 3 picks here. And obviously they're going to be tied to my relegation picks. So I went for Everton and Palace, I think, in trouble to go down. So picks here are going to be Luton to finish above Everton. That's 4-1. I've got Burnley to finish above Crystal Palace. Short price, that's 6-4, plus 150. They're also 6-5 to finish above Everton and 9-1 to finish above Spurs, team we just talked about. And then Wolves to finish above Brighton at 4-1. I think Wolves are in that. We said on that team, I think they were trending up towards the end of the season. Wolves could find themselves in 10th or so. And if Brighton do struggle with the Europa League, I didn't fully buy into the longevity of this De Zerbi madness that went on. It was really good fun at times. But equally, and we cashed in on it, Baz, more than once, they threw in some shockers as well, like towards in that back third of the season. There's a bit of mad stuff happening. So, and I've seen some of these sort of expert tacticians saying, once a Premier League manager works this out, it's fairly easy to get to. So I just thought that was a big price, Wolves, to finish over Brighton at 4-1. Next for you.
I didn't really delve into this market very much, but I quickly had a look, and I mainly, like you, chipping in the same direction as me relegation bet. I'd go for Luton Town to finish higher than Forest.
Okay.
Plus 330 would be one for me.
That's nice. Next market I have got, I'm going to leave the relegation treble to the last, Baz, because it's a giant price. I asked you, I said we'd play a little game here, Baz, at the end of the show. So the fixtures came out today. So we're gonna we'll go through the opening day fixtures in a minute. But the special markets on teams to win the first 3 games. So I picked 4 teams. I said all up for grabs. You can pick any teams you like, Baz. I picked 4 teams that I think have got a chance of winning their first 3 games. I've got the prices written down in front of me. I set you the challenge of trying to match the 4 teams that I picked here, Baz. So come on, what have you got? 3 to win. 3 to win or 2 to win, Baz?
Before I do it, right?
Yeah.
I've tried. What I've tried to do is guess what you've gone for.
All right, rather than what you've gone for.
What I think, and the reason for that,
whatever system you use to win the game's fine, Baz, but just win the game.
The reason for that is historically, not many teams win their first 3 games. So looking for 4 is a bit of a challenge. Arsenal and City only Arsenal won their first 3 last year. City and Arsenal won their first 2. So after 2 rounds of games last year, there was only Arsenal and City who were 100% after 2 games. Arsenal were the only one to do it. The year before that, Spurs were the only team to go win their first 3. The year before was a bit of an anomaly. There was 3 teams: Leicester, Liverpool, and Everton. Bit of a mess, that one. And then 1920, Liverpool were the only team. So historically, 3 of the last 4 years, there's only been 1 team managed to win the first 3. So trying to pick 4.
These are 4. I'm not saying all 4 will do it, but two of them, or 2 or 3 or 1 in some instances, will get us in profit, Baz. So I just really, which teams do you think have a chance?
I mean, you have to, if you're picking 4, you've got to have City as your first. They're at 7-4 plus 175. Tricky home game against Newcastle, but the key thing is that's at home, and then they've got 2 of the promoted sides, Burnley and Sheffield United. So actually 7-4 doesn't look that bad, really. I mean, it's one of those where the books put these specials up, and they will be a little bit tight on it. If you realistically want to back City to win their first 3 games, just put your money on the first and then roll it over. You'll get a better price than that. But yeah, City had to be there.
Okay, Bing, I'll give you that one.
Moving down, I then went with Brighton, 4-1 plus 400. No? Yeah, so Brighton have got Luton and West Ham at home. So 2 home games was something that clinched that for me. And then Wolves away from home. I think they're all winnable games if they do start like they finished the second half of last season. I am convinced there'll be some regression from Brighton this season, but I do like the look of their first 3 fixtures. I think there's potential there for them to win their first 3. Next up, we've got to go delving right down deeper into the market here. I've gone for Brentford.
Bing! Yes, Baz. 2. Well played.
Spurs and Palace at home and Fulham away. Brentford are capable of beating anyone at home on their day. I think Spurs are on a downward spiral, and I've said I think they'll continue to struggle this year. So that one doesn't massively worry me. And Fulham, I think Fulham will go backwards a little bit this year, potentially as well, and Palace here. So I think Brentford 16-1 was possibly the pick of the bunch. I think City's obviously a short price, but fair enough. And the final one, I think you've definitely gone for this one. Villa. No. I thought you'd go Villa. And the reason for Villa, I mean, they've got obviously the hardest game of anybody on the first day. They've got to go to St James's Park and beat Newcastle. But if they were to do that, that 18-1 would suddenly look very attractive with Everton at home and Burnley away. I think Villa would look... you'd like to be on that at 18-1 if they were to get past Newcastle. That's the big if. I thought you might go with that for that reason. It's really a massive hurdle at the start. But then you're on the home stretch if you can get past that one. So, yeah, I didn't mind that one at all.
No, you're right. And Villa, I think Villa will pop up in a bit, Baz, when we look at those opening day fixtures. So, yeah, you got 2 out of 4, Baz. So, yeah, I think you win a teddy bear. Man City, and the other one was Arsenal at the top. I just took both of them. Arsenal, home to Forest, away at Palace, home to Fulham. 3 very winnable games. The other one I took was West Ham at 25-1. Now, you kind of flipped this over because you had Brighton that were in there. Away at Bournemouth, they can win. They can beat Chelsea at home, local derby, and then go to Brighton for a win. But that's it. That's, 28-1 West Ham. That was a bit of a fancier price. But yeah, you've done all right with that, Baz.
Yeah, pointing out, obviously, no Ivan Toney for Brentford. I'm not, as you said, they finished strongly, and I like them, Buemo and Wissa. They can chip in, and they did so. They certainly didn't look like they missed him at the end of the season.
Who's the German kid who's rapid as well?
Over a full season, I think obviously they will. Well, half a season they are gonna miss him. There's no doubt. But I'd be surprised if they don't bring somebody in anyway.
So I've only got my relegation treble left, Baz. Before we have a quick shufty at these fixtures, is that you two?
Yeah, I've got relegation. A couple of other markets I haven't tried to find yet, but I thought would be quite interesting if we could find them, and it might be that close to the season we can. I'd like to find one on the last team to pick up a win. I think that would be quite a good one to go for whilst looking at the new fixtures. So you're looking at the fixtures, look at each team and think, where is their first win coming? Game 6, game 5, and then pick someone out. So I was going to try and hunt around. I didn't have a chance, but I thought that would be an interesting one to go to. And in a similar vein, when you've identified who the last team will be, it would be good if we could get some, we've got odds here on teams to win their first 3. I'd like to find some odds teams to go winless in their first 8 or winless in their first 10. So last year, for example, after 8 games, Leicester had no wins. The year before that, Burnley, Norwich, Newcastle had no wins. All 4 of them got relegated. Oh no, Newcastle didn't get relegated, did it? That was
no, Baz. What we did was we beat everyone and then ended up in the Champions League. You've misremembered that, Baz.
But in the year before that one, West Brom, Burnley, Norwich. So after 8, there's good history of teams going 8 games without a win. And I thought, that would be an interesting one if we could find something like that and pick a team who we think would go further in. So I might look at that later on. But no, nothing further. I've got a relegation one for you as well.
What, a trifecta?
I've gone for a relegation, 3 in any order, and then I've got a straight.
Okay. Yeah, give us those then, Baz, because mine's a 3 in any order job. Yeah,
so my 3 in any order is Forest, Sheffield United, and Bournemouth.
Okay.
That comes in at 50-1 for those 3 to be your 3 relegated sides.
And in what order?
In what order? I actually wouldn't take this because the price doesn't. Well, it does. I would take it. Let's be honest. Sheffield United bottom, Forest second bottom, Bournemouth third bottom. That comes in at 150-1. I think that should be a bit bigger. Like if you're getting 50-1 in any order, I feel like I should be getting more than 150 for them to be in a specific order.
Yeah, I think so. Definitely, you certainly would have won the horses if you were playing a proper trifecta. My relegation treble, the 3 in any order, is Sheffield United, Everton, and Crystal Palace. The 3 I think will go down, and that's at 150-1.
Nice.
So the fixtures came out. Let's have a little whiz through the just the opening weekend fixtures. We can pick a lot and a dog, Baz, from these. The Friday night, Friday the 11th of August, Burnley, Manchester City. Then Saturday we have Arsenal v Forest, Bournemouth v West Ham, Brighton v Luton, Everton v Fulham, Sheffield United v Crystal Palace, and Newcastle v Aston Villa. Sunday, the televised games are Brentford v Tottenham, and then probably the game of the weekend is Chelsea versus Liverpool. And then on the Monday night, the telly game is Man United against Wolves. Early lock and an early dog, Baz.
Oh, God. You're putting me on the spot now.
Yeah, I am, yeah.
I don't know. I'm struggling with it. I mean, the dogs, first thing I was looking at was the biggest prices on the card. You've got Luton away to Brighton at 8-1, Nottingham Forest away to Arsenal 8-1, Burnley to Manchester at home to Manchester 8-1. I don't think I could make any case for any of those at this point. So I'd probably go with my dog being... Oh, no.
Come on, son.
I can't. I'll go with Brentford to beat Spurs.
2-1 underdogs. That's absolutely insane. If that game, Baz, was in the last 3 or 4 weeks of the season, we would have fucking laughed. We would have laughed. That would have been the you're not allowed money bet, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you would have steamed into them at that price.
Yeah.
In terms of a lock, there's a lot of short prices around, isn't there? I'll take Newcastle at home to Villa.
Serial just made me lol. Says every time you look over away to the side, you think you're going to ruin a goal going in for him like you did.
I don't have a telly
several consecutive Thursdays.
Yeah.
Several consecutive Thursdays at the back end of last season, you ruined Serial's night by telling him someone had scored 30 seconds before he got to see it.
I'm trying to be a better man, Malcolm.
Yeah, good. Growth and development bars. That's what we nurture on this show. So I said I would hark back to Aston Villa. I think Villa at 92 at Newcastle would be a live play. Opening day, absolutely anything can happen. You've got new players coming in. Everyone's excited. Sometimes the new players don't gel. Newcastle didn't win for quite a little while. We won on opening day last year. Didn't win for ages after that. 6 or 7 games. And Villa will be up for it. So Villa 92. Fulham are a great price as well as a dog, 12-5 away at Everton. That might even be my luck, Fulham against Everton in that one. So, yeah, interesting and certainly lots to look forward to. And I think, Baz, we're on 58 minutes, so we can wrap it up there. Anything else you need to tell us? That was fun.
I've got some lifestyle stuff.
Oh, go on then, quick.
For lifestyle, I've started a health kick this week, Malcolm.
Oh, have you?
I'm kicking the alcohol for 4 weeks is the plan.
Yeah.
No alcohol shall pass my lips. And I'm going low carb, cutting the carbs out for a bit. See how that goes. So, what do you think I had for my dinner today? Lunch today?
I'm not even sure what carbs are, Baz, I'll be honest with you. Is that like bread and that? Potatoes?
Yeah, so I've cut that. None of that.
Right then. I know you're a soup man. But I think never. Oh, hang on. I think you've set me up here. Are you on the tinned fish, Baz?
No, I had tinned fish yesterday, though.
Shit. The whole thing come full circle from the early days of the tinned fish in the World Cup. God, let's have a think. It wouldn't be a salad. You haven't had a salad.
I've had a salad today.
Have
you?
You?
Never, ever in your life guess what salad I had either. So I'm going to tell you, I had a feta cheese and beetroot salad. What do you think about that?
I would have guessed that, Baz.
Honestly,
regular
meal I have has meat in it. I don't eat a meal if it hasn't got meat. There's something wrong.
All right, sorry. Okay for you. Yeah,
I got it. I was at a bash the other week, and there was a sandwich, a feta cheese and beetroot sandwich, and it was bloody lovely. So I thought I'm going to try that on a salad. So plenty of rocket, feta, fresh beetroot, and honey and balsamic drizzled over the top, and a few crushed walnuts.
Nice.
Well, the problem there, Malcolm, walnuts would be no good for you, would they?
Well, not nice for me. I'd die, but nice for you.
I've got a colleague who's in that situation. She's at risk of dying if I open nuts. And I forgot about it, didn't I, when I took me dinner into work? So I had to go and eat that elsewhere because I could easily have made a mistake there. And
I don't think the walnut's as aggressive as the peanut, like.
Is it not? Right. But
still, I mean, it'll kill her, just not as quickly.
There's actually a strict moratorium at work of no nuts at all anywhere near where my colleague sits. But I'm meat and veg purely. I'll let you know how that goes. give you an update.
Oh, mate, I'm pleased I'm not sleeping with you, Baz. But you'll be absolutely stinking.
And next up, I've started watching Ted Lasso.
Yay! How far have you gotten? How are you getting on? Who are you watching it with?
Me and Helen and the kids started it. Chloe lost interest and just started going after episode 1. So she's out. Sophie probably made it to episode 3 before saying, I'm going to go do something else. You can carry on watching it. So she dips in and out now. Me and Helen are committed. Helen's enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. I think we're about 6 or 7 episodes in. But
right,
it's good. I don't mind it. So that was a good
suggestion. Good.
Well
pleased. I thought you were going to, when I saw your little face there, Baz, you pulled a little face. I thought you were going to slag it off. But finally, good. I'm pleased about that.
One final thing. Are you excited for the Ashes?
No,
didn't sound it. No, that's fine. Neither am I.
There used to be. I mean, you take the day off work, especially the first day of the Ashes for any of our American people. It's like opening day MLB. Like it's England play Australia in the cricket every 2 years, and it's a big old occasion. But I think, Baz, I've only got room for one bat and ball sport in my life, is what I've discovered. Right. So I just haven't. I will watch it, but the outcome. That's
the same with me. I'm very much a part-time cricket fan. If someone offers me a free ticket, I'll go down and watch it. And if it's on the TV, then I'll take an interest. I did message my mate Simon, who listens to the show occasionally. He's a big cricket fan. I said, "What have you got for me for the cricket?" And he said he's currently ploughing through everything, getting all the stats, doing all his data.
Oh, nice.
He'll be steaming into Betfair Exchange tomorrow. So I'll no doubt get some thoughts for the cricket.
Well, keep him on side, Baz, because you remember this talk of the ML, the Major League Cricket Gambling podcast. For the Major League Cricket season that's happening I think it's happening in Texas over the space of 6 weeks. Oh, no, it's not 6 weeks. It's about 3 weeks, 6 teams there is. But yeah, we're possibly going to try and blag our way through that. So if he knows what he's talking about, Baz, get him on the team.
I've got a cricket man, a couple of
right, well, okay, well, we'll talk about this another time. Good, well done, excellent lifestyle chat, that, Baz.
We've got a final question from Serial before we go. US national team or Mexico tonight?
It's going to finish 1-1, Baz. We've discussed this all on Twitter before.
Yeah.
Is that the Gold Cup final? No idea. We don't know. Sorry, Serial.
I haven't looked at it. I knew you'd put out a 1-0. I genuinely hadn't looked at the game at all. It's not the Gold Cup final, is it? It's the CONCACAF Nations League playoffs.
Oh, okay. That was close.
It's a semi-final.
Spain just gone 2-1 up, which has buggered all our bets as well. Now 1-1 draw in that looked like a slow burner, Serial. So right there you go. Well done, Baz. That was fun. That's chalked off one of the 8 weeks that we've got to fill in. So we'll find something to talk about next week, and we will come back and talk about it. Thanks everyone who joined us in the chat. It was loads of fun. If you are listening to this after the event, feel free to come and join us on YouTube. Look out, we do schedule the episodes so you can see when they're going to be. B, get in the Discord channel, which is loads of fun. And then follow us on Twitter at SGPN Premier. Like, rate, review, tell a friend to tell a friend, and all that sort of stuff. Thank you very much, Barry. Cheers. We'll be back at some point next week. Until then, we'll see you down the road. Cheers.